Hello, welcome back to Minecraft. I'm playing a map that I've just discovered in my emails. Apparently a map creator I played a map before, they sent me an email asking if I'd like to have a go at a new map they've made. Sorry, it's a little delay in when the email was sent. If you're watching this, don't actually check my emails that frequently, and I've only just discovered it. It's a memorial map for one of their friends who sadly passed away. So I thought, we'd play through. It's not that long since the anniversary of, and from what I understand, it's a map looking at the old server that they used to play together called the Haven. So I'm gonna have a look through and see what there is. If I enter, yeah, it makes some. It is. I checked all that. Great. Around the Haven, you will spy gold blocks on the ground. Each gold block contains a different set of dialogues, like this one. When you don't see a conch on the bottom, you can proceed to the next gold block. There's one over there now. Don't you see it? Just try it out. Okay. Just like that, yeah, alright. There's only one more thing to check before we get started. Did you read the map description when downloading? If not, that's alright, I'll explain it to you. Alright, to you then. Looks like you're ready to roll. Step on the ground block and get ready. I will put the description in the description for those who want to actually read it. This is at least the entrance to it. We keep our tree farm outside the haven itself as a way to try and obscure the way in. We were very big on the idea of not letting anyone else know where we were. GlassDragon wasn't a big server, I'd say, but it was sizable enough that we were worried someone might stumble upon us. It's funny, we never really used the entrance when we went exploring. We'd always just come back around one of the other sides and just jump down into the water. As a result, as I'm sure you'll see, the entrance got a bit overgrown. When you're ready to go and have a walk in, you'll see the next gold block there. Okay, so this is... I don't know if it's a reconstruction or actually the map file. It would be an old map, look at those choices. And here we have the Haven proper. Beautiful, isn't it? We built it around this little pond. Scarlet found. She built her house, the big dark oak one, so that one. Slash cobblestone house first, and then I joined in with my house, the white wool one. And everyone else seemed to come afterwards as we settled. Honestly, we didn't leave with much pond by the end looking back on. We colonised nearly the whole thing with our bridges and builds and whatnot. I'm sure you're noticing how much birch we used. That's because this pond is in a birch forest biome. The places we'll be going on this tour in no particular order, including my house, Scarlet's house, the Squid Brothers enclosure, the pet house, the farm, the conversation cave, the talking corner, the mob pens, the Hall of Death. Oh, who didn't have a Hall of Death in the Minecraft server? And a couple of smaller spots. Oh, note. Our first stop on the tour shall be my house. Walk down the path and take the first left. The gold block door should be indoors. Okay, so this was the map creator's house. I'll upload his house. So this here was my house back then. Note the contents of the chest by the door. I was not exactly the most organised person by that. Oh, yeah, looks about right. It's got some decent stuff. But at least I'm better at it. As then I sort out my weapons and my valuables from the rest now. Good person. You're doing very good if you're doing that. You know what else I was bad at back then? Building. I'm sure you're looking around while you're on room house and thinking, hey, that's not that bad for a 13-year-old. It could be much worse, but that's only because of Scarlet's influence, both in terms of decor. I definitely wouldn't have put a painting up if I didn't see that Scarlet did in her house. And in terms of she actually helped me make it not look like an 8-year-old built it. Well, in your defense, most of my builds end up in caves. Unless I'm recording something, because I would just have a cave house. Quite happy with cave houses. She was a lot better at building than I was. She had a natural eye for design, the carpet, the roof, the birch log farming for the house. That was all her doing. Before her remodelling, it was basically just a birch box of planks. In fact, she was the very reason I actually have the knowledge to make all the stuff I do now. I wanted to be like her. I wanted to learn how to build well. And well, eventually that paid off. One thing led to another, and I ended up in the map making circuit and learning how to not only build but also program fully functional maps. And for the life of me, I can't work out what map I played that was theirs. I think they uploaded this map itself on a different account, so I couldn't even track back that way. Played too many. There's a hint of sadness in that too. I look at all that she built then, and I see that I've improved beyond. It's bittersweet, really. I know she's proud of me to know that I've been made this far, but it's a bit upsetting. Given that she's the one who led me down this path. I wish she was still around to see it, you know. Anyway, our next stop is the Squid Brothers enclosure. Exit my house and go straight for a bit, then turn right to the Blue Wall and Glass Monstrosity. Can't miss it. Blue Wall, Glass Monstrosity. You're right, I can't miss it. Welcome to the home of Squid Darren and Squid Dylan, the two Squid Brothers. We sectioned off these two from their brethren to keep them safe from harm, and it sure paid off. There were originally about 5 or so squids in this pond, but the other 3 just sort of disappeared. It couldn't have been they despawned or that they made their way onto land somehow, or something else entirely, but Squid Darren and Squid Dylan stayed safe. If you can't tell, I was the one who built the enclosure. We had some excess blue wool, and I thought it would look nice. It didn't look nice. I still think their names are utterly genius. There's not much more to say about these two, so let's move on. Your next stop is directly across the pond, the quartz house with the unfinished roof. So I'd love a look around here. Yeah, there's a cute little squid pond. I always kept squid pets as well. In fact, one of my maps I made a giant goldfish bowl, which I stuck everything I could in there. Which, of course, meant everything kept leaping out and dying. Is this the one we want? This is the quartz house. Pet house still under construction. And here we have the unfinished pet house. This is the midway through remodelling. We never did finish it. Both the materials left were from Nether, and I was the one who went left to farm for materials like the quartz and the Nether brick stuff. That got a bit boring after a while, so I took a break from it and never went back. I know the All of the pets here were Scarlet's wearing toast. There is a parrot here just squawking. I haven't played with sound on for a while. Probably end up muting it all. Anyway, there is a middle. Toast was both our pets because you can't tame a rabbit like you can for a parrot. My parrots never really lasted long. I took them with me everywhere I went, and they tended to die while I was out adventuring. Wolf Farm will change that. When I got to the world file, I couldn't find any of my current unnamed pets. Presumably they're out there sitting in a cave or some distant tundra or something similar, waiting for me to get rendered in distance and teleport to me. Oh, that's sad. The whole thing's sad, really. So, got Maggie May, Dandy, Sky, Kristen, Jewel, and Spot. Again, the exceptional toaster names were her idea. Toast, I found out that you could change the pattern of a rabbit to a special one if you named it Toast. I did not know that. Each of her pets named has some sort of significance, mainly puns, though I think one of the parrots is named after some of a bird somewhere. My favourite one is Creston. Creston's awesome. That's not the original Sky, by the way. The first Sky was sitting too close on by one day when I knocked Scarlet into the water. We were messing around and the poor thing had to be put down. Yes. Yes, that happens. Once again, who hasn't made wolf pets? There's a small house with a trapdoor in it. We walk through the... Is it this one? So, who hasn't made a wolf army, accidentally knocked someone or been knocked by someone, and then had to put down the wolf army? This was Jeremy's hole in the ground. Jeremy was a zombie pigman who lived in the hole in the ground. I killed Jeremy by switching the world to peaceful so no monsters would try to track you while you're going through the door. And that, my friend, is the tale of Jeremy the zombie pigman. If you go right of the pet house, you'll see an incomplete nether portal. That is our next spot. What's this? Due to influx of inventory, please keep the portal. Yeah, that is also a issue. And here we have another portal. It's not incomplete because the haven ended up with zombie pigmen wandering around the place, coming through the portal, though I probably don't need to tell you that, considering that's exactly what the sign says. I read the sign. Even with the sign, I kept forgetting to unlight it after I was done in the nether. The nether itself wasn't all that interesting, so you aren't missing out on much. It wasn't there in the world file, so I didn't bother with relighting it. If you're interested in the description, think completely cobbled block box, with iron door on the tiny netherrack island in the middle of an ocean of lava with a single block cobblestone path leading away. It's funny the things you'd see in hindsight. It seems obvious now. Next up, the farm. It's right behind you and up the stairs. Stairs? Oh, okay, so we're going back on ourselves slightly. Go to the farm. I mean, so far this is just so reminiscent of how me and my siblings played Minecraft. You'll have the one person who has I forgot what to find, but you have one person who has an idea for a build and it doesn't quite work out. You have one person who makes a hole in the ground, even though I know technically that was a zombie's hole, and then you have one person who builds a house. Yeah, guess which one I was. And here we have our farm of the water. After a certain point making one farm, this whole farm just became just a formality of sorts. We no longer ate the food from here, and by that point Scarlet had enough bookshelves for a full enchanting table. Once we had a steady supply of cooked steak and pork chops, basically never went up to those stairs again. Once again, I know the feeling. I'm sure you saw the sugarcane farm underneath here on the way up. Yeah, it's one of our talks. She told me that there was a sugarcane field about 5 or so minutes from where she lived, and that very rarely, maybe once or twice a year, I think, the farmers who owned it would set it on fire. I passed. Supposedly that sort of thing is really bad for the people who live near it, and largely getting discontinued due to the health reasons, but she wasn't worried about any of that. The days surrounding the cane burning were special to her, because the supposedly smelled really good. In burnt sugar would sound quite nice as long as you're not too close. I passed a couple of fields on my family trip many years back, but I was never in the area when they burnt them, so I have to take her word for it. I assume that it smelled sweet given it's sugarcane and how much it does the smell, but I couldn't easily be wrong. Moving on, next stop on the tour would be the mob farm. Head downstairs, go under the farm to the left. So you can tell that the person who's writing out the story for us really cared about their friend. Is the mob farm? Do you want to go now? Let's stay. Then I'll stand there, then go under the farm and turn left. This way. I failed to turn left. As you can see, the mob farm, as I'm sure you'll notice, this fence are a tad sparse, but they weren't always that way. There used to be little fences with more crumbly rabbit and hen at the same time. Like all good mob farms, you crammed everything to death because then it was the best way to get your XP. The only reason that they're not the case anymore is because the server owner noticed that the server lag rate shot up whenever Scarlet were on the server, and he started looking to buy. Turns out Minecraft doesn't like it when you have that many entities and that many sources. Well, Possestic wasn't upset with us, but he did ask us to spin out the numbers, which we did. On one hand, it got us a lot of food, but on the other hand, it really tanked our production rates, and on were the days of building pools and building people. Either way, it was fun while it lasted. Alright, now we're getting to the really interesting one, exit log 3, Pool of Death. Once again, many servers that we set up all part of the inevitable, oh, we need XP, or need food, so you cram a load of animals in, and you'd be like, why can't I move? This here is a Hall of Death, the place to record our plentiful deaths over the course of the server. At least the ones we actually remembered to write. We weren't exactly good at writing every death down, but you can see a good sampling on the wall. We did remember here on the walls the red wall blocks were Scarlet's, the purple ones were mine. Red was Scarlet's colour as well, and her username Scarlet Renegade. As for me, I didn't have a colour in my username, so we just went my favourite colour purple. Speaking of usernames, that's what the abbreviations on the sign start for. SR for Scarlet Renegade, and GA for Gallivanting Aristocrats. It wasn't my username, sure, but it was the name everyone knew me by. I have to admit though, the idea wasn't exactly original. It was all definitely inspired by another player further down the shore. He about more that he gave us about 2 days after making it. The dude was terrible at building, and yet somehow the Force of Death is uglier than his. That'd be because I was in charge of building it, and well, you know how bad I was at building back then. That was awful. Feel free to look through the signs, by the way. You can make out a couple notable events throughout the death they caused. No, we were planning on adding a second floor, but we had completely filled the first one. As you can see, we never quite made it that far. The next stop. Okay, we head for the stairs between Scarlet and my house and head to the little cave. I'm not going to go through them because I feel like everyone should come and have a look on their own, but I'm just going to walk sort of semi-slowly down, and then you guys can pause and read the ones you want to. I'd walk quickly, but then there's no way you'll be able to read it, so if I do this, yeah. There we go, everyone had a chance to read everything there. I'm not gonna read it myself. Well, I will, I'll come back in a minute. So it was between the two houses. The mine cave? Do you remember me talking about how we wanted privacy? When I was talking about the entrance, this cave here is the product of that desire. See, we like talking to one another quite a bit actually, but less so the rest of the server, so we made this as a way to speak to one another in private without the rest of the server hearing. Yep, done that. It's a little difficult to make sense of it, but I can explain how it works. One of us will start the conversation on our respective side in the top left spot, and everyone will reply on the top of their left spot. The rest of the signs go back and forth in the same way you would read left to right, then up and down when you reach the end of the row. Once you, thanks to the very system this was based on, only most of the recent conversations could be seen at the time, as the other conversations were broken to make room for it. That meant that there's no trace, no record of any other conversation we had here. We had plenty. The one you can see, that's the last conversation we had in this cave before she passed. We did talk after that though, so this wasn't the last conversation we ever had, just the last one we had here. Which leads us to the final talk corner, walk around the cave and head to the little brick structure. You'll see that's where the next gold block will be. So this was gallivanting aristocratic side, and then this was Scarlet's. Once again, I will come back and read through it myself, but there's your chance to pause and read through it. Okay, where was I going again? Walk out the cave and head to the little brick structure. You can see from there. The little brick. I never liked these brick blocks. When nobody else was on, we didn't have to use the side, so we talked in the chat text freely. That's the purpose of this corner. We'd come here, nobody else was on, and we'll talk. We would talk about Minecraft, about games, music, hobbies, life in general. We talked about anything that came up. She was very nice to talk to, you know. A very interesting person, living a very interesting life, and our conversations were the highlight of my days. We built it together, but she was the one who made it pretty. We wanted it to be a cozy little corner of the server that we could just exist in and talk, you know, that we'd be comfortable in. As time passed, we spent more and more time here in the cave, and I've really liked talking to her. I got the feeling she felt the same about talking to me. We had a really good friendship, and it just got stronger by the day. I could only imagine where we would be now if she hadn't passed away so soon. I sense I'm getting a little rambly about the subject. It was just nice, just the two of us talking through the night. I miss it. I really do. I miss talking with her, sharing stories of our days, talking about the people in our life. I miss her. We should move on to her house before I get myself worked up, yeah. You know where it is, the big dark building. Haven't checked out yet. I've said it already, but you can tell the amount of love this person had for Scarlet Renegade. I don't know if it's romantic, platonic, or what, but it is love. This is her house. Where is the golden block? Here, at last, we're at the final stop in the tour, sort of at least. It's not the last gold block, but it's the last building. In all honesty, this house was essentially shared between us. My house I only visited for bed respawning purposes, and she dumped stuff in the chest there. I used her furnaces, anvil, crafting table, enchantment table, mine, etc. I spent more time here than I did my own home, and she was more than happy to share. I'm sure you can see now how my room was inspired by her house. The carpet, the flower, the pots, the paintings, they were all either inspired by or placed by Scarlet. She wasn't even a full year older than me, and yet I still looked up to her for her building and design skills, because those were the pros compared to mine at that age. We want to head to the next room directly to the right, the entrance. God, my throat's getting all cracked up and sore. She started work on the staircase down, make it look nicer and all, but she never did finish there. She lost motivation about halfway through, I'm sure, don't blame her. I just never went back to it. It helped with some of it, but my motivation left long before hers. There's honestly not much to say about the mine. There's a mine shaft down there to the right, and that's about it. There's another room on the floor by the bench. What does that sign say? Mine closed until further notice. Do not pass. Oh, but I want to sneak through. It could be fun. Cobblestone. It's always a joy making a proper mine shaft. Turned up so many cobblestones. Trash bin? No? Never made trash bins. So this one or this one? Enchantment room. Here's the enchantment room. It's rather enchanting, wouldn't you say? Love the puns. There's really not much to say about enchantment rooms there. Your next stop is right up the stairs, storage room. So yeah, basic. Oh, she actually made a. Normally, when I make an enchantment room, I make it so there'll be no space. It'll literally just about fit the bookshelves because I forget to make space for it. If you look around her storage room, you'll see that she was a lot more organised than I was by a long shot. There's a chest downstairs, and by the door, the chest is just for stuff here, to resources into the other rooms. It's oppressive even to me now. I was always mad for her sense of organisation. If only that had rubbed off on me too, in addition to the passion for the building. There's really only one more thing to see in the house, and that's the next one. I'll see you there. And here we are, the last room. Issues, the relaxation room. Issues is, why am I reading? It got a lovely view through the only window of the haven. It got a little couch to sit on, a potted plant for decor, and a few cool paintings and jukebox. You can play a selection of only 4 different music discs in. It's a lovely place built for the sole purpose of relaxation and sitting back. And of course, for hiding the secret room behind the painting, you've got to keep the valuables somewhere. Sometimes when Scarlett wasn't on and I needed to just do homework or something, I'd come up here and just AFK on a bench looking out the window. It was peaceful, and I have a good memories of this room. I miss her. It's been 5 years now, going on 6, but I still miss her. I don't think I'd be sitting here making this if I didn't. Would I? I mean, I only knew her for what, just a few months on some random Minecraft server over half a decade ago. You wouldn't think that I'd moved on by now. I never even so much knew her name. Her real name, I mean. Well, I think it's about time for me to wrap up the map. If you'd like to join me back at the entrance, take the time you need. You know how much this haven means to me, and why it does. I don't want to rush you. I'll see you when you're ready. I say, it's amazing the brief time it takes to make such a connection. Oh, there we go. Yeah, definitely valuables. So the briefest time to make a connection with someone. It doesn't matter if you only met someone for a few months or if you knew someone for a few years. The love you can feel for someone before you lose them is amazing. It's also really sad. It doesn't matter if it's platonic, romantic, or just someone who you feel like you'd want to spend the rest of your life with, existing near, but not necessarily being in a relationship with. I've had a few connections with people where I've gone, I don't ever want to stop being friends with you, and it hurt when I stopped. And I still think of them. Not that, though I've been quite fortunate, none of them has passed. It's just the classic, you get older, you fall apart type reasons. See what the last box says, the little cow. Hey! Thank you for everything. For playing through, for listening to my story, for caring even though enough to even be here, thank you. In fact, if for whatever reasons you need to contact me, you may reach me at Pepper. Until then, safe travels. Well, I hope you'll... Oh, we can even free roam it afterwards. Carry on having a look around. I would say I hope you will enjoy this story, but I feel like we can all be slightly nostalgic about this story, in a sense of finding a map, meeting up with someone who you have a connection with, and playing Minecraft, and just building and having a great time, and making builds. They may not be the best builds in the world, they may be amazing builds, but just growing together and playing Minecraft. A lot of the story that I've just read out about their story in itself, we have all had instances where we know exactly what they're talking. We know you've always got that one friend who builds well, one friend who lives in a cave. Yeah, inevitable food farm that you stopped using because you at that point have animals, or you've just killed / grown enough to no longer need it. I know a handful of people who have made Walls of Death, and it's always been a delight reading through them, because some of them get really, really funny. And the half projects that never quite got completed. So, I'd like to thank Gallivanting Aristocrat. I'd like to thank for sharing the story about their friend and about their time on the server, and I know the pain doesn't get much better, but just knowing that sharing your story is an amazing thing, so thank you, and I hope you don't mind that I'm going to share it further with this video. Well, I say further. All 13 people who shall watch this, it shall be shared further with. So yeah, thank you for watching. Like if you like, comment if you want, subscribe if you can. Tell me awesome if you think I'm awesome. Tell me terrible if you think I'm terrible. It's Missy signing off. Goodbye.